this is Glover Teixeira, UFC light heavyweight champion.
Hi, I'm Robbie Lawler.
What's up, fight family? This is your favorite MMA coach, Thiago Alves, the Pitbull.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Pedro Munoz.
This is Mike Brown.
Guys, I am Alexei Olenek, and welcome.
And welcome. And welcome.
And welcome.
And this is wewantpicks.
And you're watching We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
We Want Picks. To We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks. Hi everybody from American Top Picks.
My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. UFC 269 was absolutely incredible. Every fight was a ton of fun. And last night made some boys of men and some men of boys. And our buddy, my co-pilot, Jacob Lyons, absolutely crushed it last night. That dude is up 52 units. 52 units. So if a unit for him is $100, he's up $5,200. Even if it's a $10 unit, he's up $520. I'm going to break down all his bets. Hopefully you guys followed along. Hopefully you follow him on Twitter. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the fights, and we'll see who won our free DraftKings League and if they get paid. Before I go anywhere, go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up for any one of our 5 betting partners. Then let me know after you do. Make a deposit, and I'll send you $50. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it. I will literally send you $50 as a thank you. I've seen a bunch of you sign up and make deposits. But you haven't reached out to me, so come back. Let me know, and I'll get you paid. Let's jump right in. Jacob Lyons. One of these is mine. The rest are Jacob's. Thank God there's 2 of us on this show. He is absolutely crushing it. I mean, happy bar mitzvah to Jacob because he's officially a man. He still has that future bet on Tyron Woodley. That's next weekend, and we'll break that down in more detail. But he did a full unit on Charles Oliveira. He had Kai Kara France wins inside the distance decision, no action at even money. He had Sean O'Malley wins inside the distance at almost even money. 2 units on each of those. He was one of the only people that had the nuts to put some money on Juliana Pena. He had Juliana Pena wins inside the distance, decision, no action at plus 600. So what that meant was if Juliana Pena wins inside the distance, which she did, then he got paid like he did at plus 600. If she lost the decision, he would have gotten a refund, but didn't matter because it didn't go that far. And then I had the over round on Nunez Pena at minus 120. And then Jacob had a Sean O'Malley, Ryan Hall parlay at plus 100 at 2 units. But this is what we did on the breakdown on the show. If we take a look at Jacob's Twitter feed, and we retweeted all of these, make sure you follow us and Jacob, our individual accounts on Twitter, because this always happens, right? We do our breakdown on Friday. We give you our final bets, our final picks. Then fight night's here. We're watching fights. Maybe we're live streaming, maybe we're not, and bets are getting placed. And we're letting you know. Let's walk through a few of these. Jacob live bet Dominic Cruz after the first round, 2 units for plus 219. We'll talk about that fight in a minute, but that was awesome because he got plus 219, and then obviously Cruz went on to dominate the next 2 rounds. Then he went Tai Tuivasa, full unit, minus 125. He placed that right before the fight. Then he had a 2-unit parlay at plus 425. He had Jeff Neal, Charles Oliveira, and Sugar Sean O'Malley to win. And then he did 4 units under 2.5 rounds on the Cody Garbrandt Kai Kara France fight. And that was basically even money. Make sure his Twitter handle's right there. You know us at We Want Picks. Follow all of it for these little gems because there is money to be left on the table. The dude is up 52 units. This one we did not sort of advertise ahead of time, so take it for what you want. But Jacob placed a 7-fight round parlay. He put a full unit on it. It paid out at plus 3,965, which is if you bet $100, you got 4,000. You bet $10, you got 400. That was the payout on a parlay like this. He did Oliveira Poirier over 1.5, Nunez Pena over 1.5, Kai Kara France, Garbrandt under 2.5, O'Malley Paeva under 2.5, Cruz Munoz over 2.5, Wright Silva under 1.5, Minner Hall over 2.5. I mean, listen, thank God, Jacob sharing this information while the fights are happening because He was on absolute fire last night, and we all know that's how it goes. It's streaky. I had a 6-month streak where I didn't lose any money at all, and now Jacob is making up for any of those gaps with just absolute 2 weeks in a row, crushing his bets. Make sure you follow all of it on Twitter. Obviously, make sure you subscribe here. Go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, let me know, and I will send you $50. We have 5 betting partners. This isn't just for fights, guys. You like football, you like basketball, whatever you want. All of those websites have full sports books, full casinos. wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, let us know, and I'll send you $50 as a thank you for supporting us and our partners. Let's talk about some monkey knife fight. I had some successes last night. Not a ton of money. I told you guys what I always do with monkey knife fight is I made my initial deposit and I just keep $100 in my account and I win. Let's say I work my way up to 200. I'll withdraw 100. I'll leave 100 in there. So not a ton of money. This isn't going to pay my mortgage, but it's honestly a ton of fun. So go to wewantpicks.com/MKF. Monkey knife fight is daily fantasy. It's no different than DraftKings or FanDuel. It's just a very different approach. Instead of building a whole lineup and competing against thousands or hundreds of other people, all you're doing is looking at the strike lines and saying more or less on how many strikes you think these fighters will land. Or, like I did here, Knockout Kings, where you pick any 3 fighters. Any 3 fighters you want, and you can get 25% profit, 2.5 times profit, 6 times your money, whatever risk you're willing to take. So let's take a look and see what I did. I did Knockout Kings, which honestly is free money. Free money. I haven't lost a nickel on Knockout Kings. I did $50 on Nunez, O'Malley, and Oliveira. And Nunez lost by submission. Oliveira won by submission, but O'Malley won by knockout. So I hit that. Got 25% net return there. Then I did a $20 one. I had Oliveira, O'Malley, and Tuivasa. Again, 25% net profit there. Then I did a 3 for 3. These pay out 5 times. I should have just thrown $10 on it, whatever it is. But I did less on Maverick, less on Silva, less on Munoz. And that hit because Silva got the knockout. Munoz's strike line was super high. And so was Maverick, who was dominated by grappling. And then I did miss one. I did 4 of these. I missed one. And I had the more on Poirier. Thought that fight would go a little longer. But he had 69 strikes. And he was stopped in the 3rd round, early 3rd round. So we were pretty close to getting past that 89. Honestly, it would have happened in that round if he just let it go. Guys, wewantpicks.com/MKF. It is so much fun. It is so easy. It's so much fun, especially if you just do Knockout Kings. They instantly match your deposit. So throw in $20. They'll give you a free 20. Throw in 100. They'll give you a free 100. And then play with the fake money, their money, the deposit match money. Leave your real money in the account. And then when you win, withdraw your real money, keep the house money in there, and continue on. wewantpicks.com/MKF. Let's talk about some of these fights. This one burns me a little bit. I am not a Ryan Hall guy at all. His last fight against Poirier was top 5, one of the most embarrassing performances I've ever seen any fighter have. Rolling around on the ground, just trying to grab. It was really embarrassing. Jacob, for whatever reason, just latched on to Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall's his favorite fighter. On and on and on. He has got that ridiculous hat, all that crap. And obviously Ryan Hall is a 2-1 favorite here. So, Ryan Hall winning literally surprised not anybody. And if you watch my breakdown, I picked Darrick Minner because I can't get my body to just pick Ryan Hall. I can't watch a guy roll on the ground like a toddler and then be like, that guy's going to win a fight. So I couldn't pick him to win. But what was surprising here, he was very controlled on his feet. This is just a funny picture. He's got the freaking Karate Kid crane going on here. But, what was surprising is, so Darrick Minner did have some moments of success. I was actually surprised Ryan Hall didn't submit Darrick Minner. That was surprising me because Darrick Minner just took Ryan Hall down a couple times, ended up in trouble, was fully mounted, defended some arm bars and stuff. Ryan Hall wasn't able to submit him, and it's easy to trash Ryan Hall. You couldn't even submit Darrick Minner, but the reality is, dude won a fight, so good for him. Congratulations, Jacob. And it's funny because Jacob obviously was all over Ryan Hall. I lost that bet to Jacob, so I had to pay him that $100 on that short we uploaded. That was painful. But it's just funny because Jacob was so positive Ryan Hall was going to win that he had a stoppage bet on Ryan Hall. And that was like one of the very few bets that didn't hit, but I paid him $100. So it is what it is. Ryan Hall, Darrick Minner. I don't know what's next for Ryan Hall because he loses to anybody that has cardio, basically. Darrick Minner gassed. If Darrick Minner didn't gas and stayed busy on top, that's Darrick Minner's fight, straight up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and to see what the future for Ryan Hall is. Darrick Minner, he's fun to watch. He's got good cardio, or not. He doesn't have good cardio. He's got good wrestling. His cardio is hit or miss. It depends on the fight. We'll see what happens with him, but he's got to get a couple wins before he's cut loose, if you will. Aaron Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick. I got this one way off. There's no hiding that. Aaron Blanchfield, we talked about it. Nasty grappler, decent striking, but I didn't think she would have the takedowns to take down Miranda Maverick, who's has very good striking. She's massive. She's strong. She's a bully, and she has her own really good takedowns. And she absolutely dominated Miranda Maverick. So my takeaways from this are Aaron Blanchfield is the real deal. Aaron Blanchfield can be a bully. Aaron Blanchfield has real takedowns and phenomenal jiu-jitsu. That's the takeaway on that side. And the takeaway on the Miranda Maverick side is she's tough as hell. Oh my God. She was never out of that. She is tough as hell. She took her licks, kept coming, kept fighting, kept trying to win, and was just on the wrong side of some dominant grappling. So, Miranda Maverick, she's coming off 2 losses in a row. That last loss was absolute nonsense. This is a genuine loss here. I think she's still a prospect, and I just think Aaron Blanchfield is just a legitimate prospect. And with her jiu-jitsu and now her dominant wrestling, she's going to be a force because we talk about all the time. I talk about Ryan Hall, for example, dominant grapplers that have just trash for takedowns. Mackenzie Dern is another one. Well, Aaron Blanchfield has takedowns and has nasty jiu-jitsu, so she's going to be a problem for a lot of people. Dominic Cruz, Pedro Munoz. So I was on the right side of this, picked Dominic Cruz. I was nervous, though. That first round, Pedro Munoz absolutely cracked Dominic Cruz. I thought he was going to have him out. And you know what Pedro Munoz did that he was supposed to do it, but maybe shouldn't have? He took his time, right? He cracked Dominic Cruz, cracked him, had him wobbled more than once in that first round, and then took his time. He backed off, took his time, set up more shots. Maybe he needed to pounce. I don't know. We'll never know, but maybe he needed to. But, that's what you're supposed to do, because what happens is a lot of these guys, they rock their opponent, then they pounce, then they either gas out or they get caught with something on the way in. So Dominic Cruz has absolute pillow fists, but he is still a legitimate contender. If Dominic Cruz had any power whatsoever, he would have stopped Pedro Munoz because he started the second round, third round. He was landing clean, really started to take over. What's interesting, though, is, in the third round, Dominic Cruz's footwork was great, but that whole hands down, bouncing around, it's starting to catch up to him. He's starting to breathe heavy with his mouth open. He's not as fast as he used to be. And we saw Pedro Munoz found his target a few times. So I honestly feel bad for Pedro Munoz because look at the run he's had to fight. Aljamain Sterling, Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo. So Pedro Munoz, the takeaway from last night is he's legit. He's got power in his hands. He's got accuracy. He's legit. And the problem is he's probably number 10 in the world, and he's fighting 1 through 9. So hopefully he gets a little bit of an easier opponent, gets him back on track because he's a ton of fun to watch. I don't know what the hell's going on in my eye here. He's a ton of fun to watch. He's very talented, very skilled. So Pedro Munoz, I'm looking forward to your next fight. Dominic Cruz, it'll be very interesting. He's got 2 wins in a row. It'll be very interesting what happens next because I do think the title has passed him by. I don't see him winning any of those top fights. But let's get a Legends matchup. Let's get a Dominic Cruz versus Jose Aldo. Although Jose Aldo, with his last 2 performances, is above Dominic Cruz. He's better than that. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Legends matchup, right? Former champs, dominant champs. Different weight class for Jose. But let's see Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz. I would love the hell out of a fight like that. Sean O'Malley versus Rouleon Paeva. Literally 0 surprises here. None, right? Maybe the surprise is I thought it would go a little bit longer because Rouleon's so tough. But Sean O'Malley is just laser pinpoint accuracy and a counter striker. And that was our breakdown, that Rouleon's going to come rushing in and just get lit up by Sean O'Malley, because that's what he does. He picks his shots. He lights you up. And the dude, like, if you saw him at a bar in Kentucky, you'd be like, oh, that's what a meth addict looks like. That's a meth head right there. And then he's this high-level athlete that does what he wants in those fights. Very talented. Listen, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. He can't keep fighting this lower tier of fighter. And honestly, great for him. DC talked about it on the broadcast. He's doing the boxing approach where everybody fights just a tiny bit tougher than the person before them, but none of them are leaps. He's getting paid. He's talked about it many, many times before. I get paid the exact same amount of money if I fight Joe Blow or if I fight for a world title. So why the hell would I want to fight these top 3 guys on the planet? It's the same money. Why would I do that? And he is 100% correct. But he will find somebody that will mix in the grappling really well, because I think that's the key, right? You come at Sean, you don't let him keep the range, you crowd him, you get rid of that distance striking, and you mix in some takedowns, you mix in some grappling, you brawl a boxer, you box a brawler, so you make it dirty, and I think that's how you beat him. And, Chito Vera pretty much kind of did that. He worked in the leg kicks, but, that was sort of a freak fight there, but I wouldn't mind. Let's run that back. Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. Let's see what that one looks like. Kai Kara France versus Cody Garbrandt. This is one of Jacob's crushed bets. He also crushed so many, I can't keep recapping those, but dude's up, I don't know, $200,000, something freaking absurd. But listen, Cody's, man, this was his first fight at 125. He looked massive. He looked absolutely massive when they went out there. I was like, damn. I liked Cody coming into this fight because I thought, his last 2 fights, we saw some control. We saw some measure out of him. And honestly, he got a little wild, right? He got clipped, and what was the first thing he did? He backed up and he called Kyra, like, let's go. And then what happened? That was the beginning of the end. He did shoot that beautiful takedown. He called Kai Kara in, then he shot a beautiful takedown, but Kara, France's hips just popped up. He was right back in there, right in the pocket, swinging away. Here's the problem. Cody Garbrandt is a ton of fun to watch. He's just, when he beat Dominic Cruz, that was like an all-time great performance of any fighter in any one fight ever. And since then, his chin is just gone. Going to 125, that wasn't going to help his chin. I did think he would stick and move, work in the wrestling a little more, but his instincts are just wrong. He just has poor instincts. He gets hit, and then he just wants to bite down and throw back. And it's just like, when you have that chin, those aren't the instincts to have. You need to be controlled, back up, circle away, catch your breath, tie up the upper body, hold against the cage, right? Shake it off and get your legs back. And he just bites down and doubles down on the firefight. So good for Kai Kara. He knocked out a chinny Cody Garbrandt. We'll see what happens with Cody next. A lot of people are saying he needs to retire. I don't think so. Dude's only 30. And yes, he has way too many knockouts to be comfortable with. And, candidate for CTE later, but he's just so talented and so fun to watch. Let's give him a gimme. Give him a much lower level of opponent. See what he does there. He starts blowing through those guys, then okay, right? It's a similar situation with Pedro Munoz where he's fighting the upper echelon of guys, and the reality is, let's give him a little bit of a break. Maybe he's 10 in the world, 12 in the world. Let's get him out of the top 10. Let's have him start fighting, younger up-and-comers, and see what he does there. I'm not calling for him to retire just yet, even though for his health he probably should. But let's give him a lesser opponent and let's see what happens there. No more banger strikers. Let's give him somebody who's gonna, no power in their hands, looking to grapple. Let's go from there. Amanda Nunez versus Juliana Pena. You saw Jacob's bet on Juliana Pena. He bet wins inside the distance, decision no action at plus 600. But let's hear, if you didn't watch his breakdown this week, let's hear exactly what he said about this fight.
Decent, but Amanda Nunez is next level with her wrestling and her jiu-jitsu. If I'm Amanda Nunez, I would just take Juliana Pena down and wouldn't even mess with the striking. Because the difference is Juliana Pena, a lot of girls come in and say they're not scared of Amanda. When Juliana Pena is talking, I believe her that she's not scared. I think that she's going to come forward and try to get Amanda's respect early. And the biggest thing about Juliana Pena is she doesn't throw a lot of looping stuff, because if you try and throw looping stuff versus Amanda, she's going to come straight down the pipe or throw looping stuff much faster and much harder than you can. Juliana Pena, when she strikes, it's a lot of just straight, right? So if Amanda comes in, blitzes forward, and is trying to get an early knockout and is starting to loop, if Juliana Pena is right there, you might see the first couple exchanges, Amanda Nunez kind of head snapping back if she's getting a little loopy with those shots. If I'm Amanda Nunez, I wouldn't even mess around. I would just take her down, grind her, work for submission. If you're Juliana Pena, you got to get respect early, right? No, Amanda Nunez doesn't, I don't want to say she doesn't respect anyone, but she knows, right? Nobody's on her level. You got to come in, you got to march forward, you got to bite down on that mouthpiece, but just throw straight shots, right? If you start trying to just knock her out, you saw what happened in Cyborg, you're just going to get knocked out yourself. You just got to keep it nice and tight, eat her up with jabs, and try to make this just a boring, just touch her up, maybe bloody her nose, maybe get something for the judges to look at, get her to panic a little bit.
I mean, spot on, right? Spot on. Obviously, he didn't pick Juliana Pena to win, but he recognized the realities of that fight. He recognized Juliana Pena's path to victory. He recognized that this wasn't a gimme for Amanda. She definitely wasn't a minus 1,000 favorite here. So he took a chance. He bet on Juliana Pena. He hit that. So congrats on him. Very few people picked Juliana Pena to win, and us included, right? Who the hell was picking? Outside of the Pena family, nobody's picking her to win. But great job, Jacob. He recognized the path to victory. He threw a couple bucks at her path to victory, and good for him there. And what an upset this was. But I got to be honest, it looked a little weird. Didn't it look weird to you? The brawls, that looked very real. It all looked very real. But then all of a sudden it gets on the ground. Juliana Pena has a not even a full rear naked. It's just more of a crush. She's got her forearm across the chin. She's crushing, does not have hooks in. And Amanda Nunez tapped like the very second. I'm done. And I don't want to say that the greatest female fighter of all time, one of the greatest fighters of all time, 2-division champion, the GOAT in both of those divisions. I don't want to say she quit. I'm not trying to say that it was a fix, but it looked weird. Like she just didn't want anything to do with it. And she said on the microphone, didn't she say it felt weird? Like she's just like, I just didn't feel it tonight. Let's not forget, she's still the champion at 145. She lost her 135-pound belt, but she is still the champion and the greatest of all time at the weight class above that. Listen, they run it back. I think Amanda beats her. Definitely if she mixes in grappling. I think this is what happens, right? She just hasn't been challenged in so long. She hasn't had any adversity in so long. She's just been so used to blowing through people that she got somebody who didn't care who she was, didn't care about her name, didn't care about her win streak, just brought it to her. And I think it messed with her. So I don't know, but I look forward to that rematch. And I think Amanda Nunez will be a minus 400 favorite instead of a minus 1,000 in the rematch. And I think she'll blow right through a Juliana Pena. But they should run this back immediately. Honestly, they should do the rematch at 145 and see if Pena can take both belts. That's sloppy and makes the divisions confusing. But, Amanda Nunez is an all-time great. I'm not going to call her a quitter. I just think she hasn't had adversity in so long that she finally got some, and it really messed with her. Another upset, but a tiny upset, and not for us because both Jacob and myself picked Charles Oliveira to win. But Jacob nailed it. Listen to this.
And you just gotta wait for your moments. If you get a little bit impatient and a little overzealous, you're gonna get caught, you're gonna get taken down, and you might get submitted. So my pick for this fight, it's close, and I hate picking against Dustin. I like Dustin as a fighter, as a person. He's so much fun to watch, but I'm picking Charles Oliveira. I'm gonna go third round. I'm gonna go submission. I'm gonna go third round submission. I think, is that when Khabib submitted Dustin? Anyway, I'm going to go third round submission, Charles Oliveira, although I'll probably be rooting for.
So I picked Oliveira to win, but Jacob literally Charles Oliveira to win third round submission. That's exactly what happened. And we talked about it, right? The narrative everybody was talking about was if Dustin can take this later, he will win this fight. He will break Oliveira, but quite the opposite. Charles Oliveira, if he was going to break in that first round when his chin was tested. Dustin Poirier in that first round looked like a minus 40,000 favorite. He was just landing whatever he wanted to, landing it with power. And it was crazy because Charles Oliveira would get hit and his head would go flying back. And then he was immediately okay. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It looked like every single one of those power shots was going to put him down, but he was immediately okay. He did get dropped with that slow, like, fall to his butt, threw an up kick, didn't really go anywhere. But, man, he got hit, and he got hit often, and he got hit hard, and he was in that fight. So, Dustin, man, he brought it. He did everything he was supposed to do. He gave up the entire second round. Just literally did nothing, stayed in guard, tried to clamp down, and what did his corners say? We need you to make Charles work harder. And obviously his fatal mistake was, well, two things. One, by giving up that second round, he basically told Charles Oliveira, if you take me down, you can win this fight, no problem. So now going into the third round, Charles Oliveira shot immediately. He was like, why am I going to mess? I'm going to shoot immediately because once we get to the ground, Dustin's got nothing for me. And then he shot. They worked against the cage. And Dustin was so worried about getting kneed in the face that he put his hands on the mat. Instead of trying to work up and work off the cage, he put his hands on the mat to not get kneed. And that's when Charles just jumped on him like a spider monkey, hooks in, choked him out. And Charles Oliveira looked amazing, but I'll tell you right now, if it's him versus Gaethje next, Gaethje knocks him out. Because Dustin landed all those punches, then Justin Gaethje is going to land those with more power and more often. So I think Justin Gaethje blows through Charles Oliveira. Obviously, if they get to the ground, it's a little dangerous, but I think Gaethje's the better wrestler. Obviously, he's a better wrestler, collegiate wrestler. And I think he's just more willing. I think Dustin's issue was he thought about it too much. He was too prepared. They literally were too prepared. If we get taken down, don't expose, the scrambles, blah, blah, blah. Take your time. And it was too much going on where if he made it a firefight, he was dominating the firefight, dominating it. And Justin Gaethje is not going to overthink anything. He will make it a firefight. Eventually, Justin's chin is going to give up, but so will Charles because he got cracked. I like Justin against Charles in that next fight, but good for Oliveira. Great for Jacob. He had the bet, and his breakdown was perfect. Great for me. I picked him to win. Had him in my DraftKings lineup. What an awesome night of fight. Go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, let me know, and I will pay you $50 as a thank you. Let's see who won our free DraftKings league and if that person is going to get $50 from us. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings league. It's 100% free to join. Anybody can join. Costs you absolutely nothing. But if you win our free contests and you're a member of this channel, I pay you $50. Spoiler alert, Wasabi Crypto, King Rob was a member. He let his membership expire, dominates the free league. Unfortunately for him, he's not getting the $50 because he's no longer a member. But damn, what a lineup. 581 points. You went 5-1 with Amanda Nunez. So if Amanda Nunez did what the whole world thought she would do, you might have a 700-point lineup, literally, which I don't know if we've ever seen that. You almost had 600 points with Amanda Nunez, who honestly scored pretty well in that loss. But so you had the Nunez loss. You had Charles Oliveira, who it was honestly so undervalued at $7,600. You had Charles Oliveira scored 94 points. Kai Kara France, 119. Bruno Silva with the knockout at 108. Muniz with the submission almost took another arm home with him at 108. And Tony Kelley at 118. Boy, what a bum Costa looked like. I mean, damn, man. What did I say in the breakdown? You brawl a boxer, you box a brawler. Tony Kelley's the brawler, Costa's the boxer. I thought Costa would keep it clean and box like he did with Yanez. But Tony just brought the brawl, did exactly what he was supposed to do. You take the clean striker out of their element by making it dirty, and he dominated. Just Costa was just never found his rhythm, and just that was it. Anyway, great lineup at 581 points. But look, Bo Burris, this is my neighbor. He actually watched the fights with us last night. Look at this lineup. And what's crazy is he joins this league, and we have a friends league with Dan and Nick Newell and Jacob and a few others. And Bo's in that. And this was not the lineup he used in that league because he may have won it or gotten close. But Kai Kara France, Jeff Neal, Dominic Cruz, Bruno Silva, Tai Tuifasa, and Muniz. He went 6-0, but still didn't take first place. And it's these little tiny ones, 64 points out of Jeff Neal. That was the difference. 64 points in a decision win. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. That's nothing. 30 of it is a decision. So that means he only scored 34 points leading up to that. Third place, CK 45-16, 560 points. You also went 6-0. Jeff Neal screwed you. Josh Emmett screwed you. Listen, I thought Dan Ige won a very, very close decision. I don't think it was a robbery by any means, but I think 30-27 was absurd, right? One judge had a 30-27. I thought that was stupid as hell. But I thought there was 29-28, even if you're going to go the Emmett side. By the way, guys, thank you all. The huge week for us. Jacob, congratulations to you. You won, incredible money. I shouldn't even have to pay you this month because you made so much freaking money. Either way, great job to Jacob. Follow him. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all the things so you never miss out on these picks and on these bets ever again. wewantpicks.com. Sign up with a betting partner. Make a deposit. Let me know. I will send you $50. Literally Venmo you $50 as a thank you. And all you did was click a few buttons, sign up, put in a couple dollars. You basically get that back when I send it to you. We'll see you guys next week for the last fight card of the year.